I hope you are having an amazing afternoon. We are going to hop in here and talk a lot about launching and branding yourself, because I really feel like that is the way to stand out online across any social media platform, which one of the tips we're going to share is so that this is something that you can be everywhere, basically. And some of these tips, Adam actually helped me a lot. Whenever I launched my blog, I launched, a Facebook page, all these different places where I've been hanging out online, because I didn't know anything about branding. I just had this free blog that I was just putting recipes up on and everything. And then whenever I was like, I want to make this something bigger, he was like, well, before you do that, there's a couple things we need to do. And so that is what this episode is about.
And I think with a lot of us, we start having something that we either do as a hobby, something we're interested in, and we're thinking, I want to either take this to the next level, or I want to, I want to take my writing. I want to have something to brand myself in whatever it is I'm going to do. So you're selling something, you're writing something, you're creating something. You want to have some way to share that. And I think this whole situation with everybody working from home right now, there's a lot of telecommuting going on. This has become even more important than it was 6 years ago or whenever it was that we started talking about this. And I distinctly remember looking, because Angela had gotten like one of these, kind of free WordPress blogs, which is fine. That's what a lot of people start with. But when you want to start to monetize it, you want to start actually growing it. How do you kind of go to the next level? Where do you start? Because there's, endless stuff on Google. How do I market something? How do I brand myself? There's a million things. So we're going to just do three things that I think will help you kind of get started to figure out your branding, what you want to do, and where does it make sense to spend your time. And make sure to stay tuned to the end of this. We've got a resource that we think will really help you go deeper if this is something you really want to do. So what's that first one?
So the first thing, and again, this is something that Adam talked to me about, was to be consistent across all platforms. Now, this is going to have some like sub points underneath it, but the very first thing was to pick a picture and use that same picture everywhere. And so, if you're thinking about your Facebook profile or a Facebook business page or something like that, you want your picture to be a picture of you, a picture of probably you smiling, something that is, representative of you. A lot of times
like not you with the dog filter from Snapchat or whatever.
Or a picture of your family that's so far away that if somebody just glanced at it, because a lot of times online, your little profile picture is still a little tiny. And so you want it to be something where they see it, they recognize you, and they're like, oh yeah, that's her, that's him. And so a lot of times I will be wearing green in my profile picture. There's a few times where I've
mixed it up.
Yeah, mixed it up. But a lot of times I will purposely pick a picture where I'm wearing some sort of green. I'm actually wearing green today because that's my blog colors. That's one of my favorite colors. That's part of my healthy and green and lifestyle sort of brand colors. So that's something that you can, even be intentional about your messaging, even with the picture that you pick.
And you've probably run into this where you've seen someone on Facebook who makes videos, let's say, and then you want to find their YouTube channel. But when you search on YouTube, the picture isn't the same. The name's the same, but you can't tell, did I find the right person? The internet has gotten big enough now, and I know this from my personal, like if you Google Adam Parker,
I was going to say my name
for some reason, I know there's a soccer player named Adam Parker, and there's several photographers named Adam Parker who are not me. And, bald guy, different thing. So there has to be some way for people to find you. So the thing about being that consistent is using the same kind of pictures, even if it's not literally the same picture. That is very helpful for people to find you. The second part is the simple thing of your handle. And if you know the term handle, that is your username. So on Facebook, that is, facebook.com/whatever that is. And that's how people find other people. You probably know this on Instagram. You have your handle on Instagram. At whatever. So when we were looking at Angela, she was interested in grass-fed mama, all one word, M-A-M-A, mama. Yeah. So we were trying to say, how do you spell it? Because, in my family, mama is M-A-M-A. I know people that it's M-O-M-M-A. Yeah. And there's different ways, it could be mum. If you're British, we have friends who talk about their mum. And I'm like, what? Isn't that a flower? I don't know what that is. And so keeping that so it would not be helpful for Angel to be grass-fed mama, M-A-M-A on Facebook, but it's MOMMA on Instagram. That's just creating confusion when it's not
Yeah.
necessary. So this comes down to thinking about what's something you're comfortable with. It's as simple as if you have a somewhat unique name or you have a different sort of spelling, use your name. If you've got a nickname you use, a handle that describes your brand, because Angela's, Grass-Fed Mama is functionally talking about, health, wellness, and how to leverage that. That's pretty much what Grass-Fed Mama is. And so we had that kind of stuff. And for the most part, as long as we can get it, we've joked that
there's
Twitter,
one
we can't get
that
it.
I can't
Someone
get.
has been squatting on Grass-Fed Mama on Twitter,
We've
but
actually reached out to
she
her.
hasn't posted in like 5
Right.
years, but she obviously doesn't know how to access
don't
her
use
thing. So
Twitter,
if you
so
know
it's fine.
at Grass-Fed Mama on Twitter, we would love to talk to her. But I can't get her to respond. She obviously just doesn't use the app, which is
Right.
fine. So that's
I don't
not a
use it
big
either. It's
platform
fine.
for us. And we'll get to about our third step talks a little bit about why we don't stress too much about Twitter.
And there's actually a website where you can find if your name is used in other places. I don't know. You probably know what that is.
Yeah, if we can, I've used it before. If I
was
recall it,
gonna say,
I'll
we
throw it in
can-
the comments.
Yeah,
But
you can select, okay, you can like brainstorm. What are some different things that,
and
speak-
it'll tell you, is it available? Is
Yeah.
is it on Instagram? Is it on Facebook? And you can grab it because you
So-
want something where you can get most of the stuff you're going to use.
Yeah.
So that's just that thought about being consistent. You want to have basically the same name. You want to spell it the same way, use the same kind of pictures, the same visual language, so people know that it's you. But what is even more important than having the same is this second option. So you see someone talk about, I want to start a business, I want to promote
Yeah.
myself. It seems like the first thing everybody does is they want to make a Facebook page. Now,
Right.
that's fine. Make a Facebook page. But your Facebook page is not, you don't control your Facebook page. I mean, you kind of do, but ultimately Facebook owns Facebook, right? And you've probably, if you've ever had trouble with Facebook, I'd love to, drop your story in here. If you've had an issue where you've lost access,
Yeah,
you've
you
had,
can't log in. You can't, connect with people, using Facebook. And a lot of people like to start on Facebook because they're comfortable with it.
Mhm.
But putting all of your content, all of your posts, all of your pictures on Facebook and thinking that it's safe, that it's going to stay there forever is just not true. So yes, I'm actually recording this as a Facebook Live, but I'm going to save it to my computer. So
Mhm.
always, even if you're using Facebook, you cannot treat it as something that you own. I know a lot of people back up their pictures pretty regularly
Mhm.
because they've lost pictures before.
We had an issue where we, and this was ignorance on our part. We had if I recall, it was a music copyright problem on a video on YouTube. And I got our YouTube account was shut down for about a week. And we were like, oh my gosh, we hosted all of our video on YouTube. And that was a wake-up call that ultimately you don't own your YouTube videos. You're kind of renting YouTube, right?
Mhm.
They're helping you and they get to put ads against it. That's how they pay for the servers and everything. So realize that when you're using these other services, you don't own the content. So what this generally means is you need to be working toward having some digital real estate that you own. And for most people, that is buying a website.
Which is honestly, like, I'm not really technical.
Mhm.
And so Adam is the one who takes care of all of that for me, but it's not as scary. And there's a lot. So we have a friend who handles all of our blog stuff for us and everything. But the domain you can get relatively cheap. Like it's, and this is something that even at first you could use it as a redirect because you can control, like if they type in grassfedmama.com, it could go to, it could even go to my Facebook page if I didn't have anything else at that point. But I'm in control of directing that traffic.
Yeah, so one of the first things we did is we purchased grassfedmama.com. So this goes back to finding your platform, your consistency. If you've got a handle that you like and the domain name is available, purchase that domain name. And that can be done through, there's Namecheap, there's GoDaddy. If you've ever seen these companies specialize in helping you find a domain name and purchasing it. And that basically gives you rights to that name and you can point it anywhere you go. Then the next step would be building a website that you're self-hosting. Now, what we did and I talked about is we have some resources on grassfedmama.com about how to do this. We can try to link that in here about making a self-hosted website. For most people, that's probably something like WordPress. You can also, Weebly is another big one. There's several. Squarespace has several of these simple websites. But again, that is home real estate that you own the domain of, that you are in control of, that if Facebook decides to shut down your Facebook page, your website still works. If YouTube messes with your videos, your page still works. You own that real estate, and it creates a hub for you to connect to. So I think that's a great second step, is figure out, once I know what my platform is, what's my name, what's my handle going to be, go ahead and grab that and stake your claim. This is my digital real estate, because the internet is the wild, wild west in a lot of ways. And it's kind of the first person to grab it during the gold rush gets it. And it becomes a lot more expensive if you want to reclaim a name that somebody else already grabbed. It can be done, but it can get very expensive. So I definitely say you want to own your own little bit of real estate. So starting with a Facebook page or starting with a YouTube channel, that's great. Do that. But you don't want to leave your control of your business and your message in the hands of someone else. So be thinking about the best way to do that. We'll drop some resources in the comments.
And also, this is something that we actually launched last year, was a podcast, because I was hearing more and more and more about how a blog and a podcast are both places where you own your own real estate. And because we do a lot of video, we do a lot of coaching, it just made sense to go ahead and put it on a podcast. And it has been a way to get some organic reach, some new exposure, and a way for me to even, coach even a little bit and through a podcast, which is a lot harder on a blog.
But again, that's the thing where we've recorded it. We own the original recordings and we host those. We pay to host them. So we have control of that real estate. So it may be pushed out to Apple and Google and Spotify and all that kind of stuff, but we ultimately control the real estate. We control the original data file where it came from. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. You can push that content out to all these places where you're trying to connect with your viewers and your readers, but you want to own the original real estate.
Yes. Okay. So the next thing is actually probably the first step is playing to your strengths, because you want to know what is something that I am good at, because, everything, you could do everything, but you shouldn't do everything, because there are some things that you're probably better at than others, like long form content, like long form writing. If you're good at that, blogging is probably where you want to go.
Yeah, blogging, Medium, things like that.
If you're better on video or audio, then maybe that isn't where you want to focus. Maybe you get somebody to transcribe your videos or podcasts, so that you have the written, but maybe that's not your strength. And so thinking about what are you good at and really lean into that. And this is actually a concept that I was thinking about at the beginning of this year, where a lot of people focus on resolutions of what they're bad at, things that they struggle with. And so they're like, gosh, if I could just improve this or improve that. And so instead of being, the jack of all trades, master of none, instead of that mindset, thinking about what am I already good at, and how can I be the best at that? And so you can even do that with your branding. And I think that that's where people stand out the most, is where they realize what their strengths are and they play into that.
I think, and that's a great thing for you to realize, is when you're thinking about the platform you want to use, owning your digital real estate, this kind of comes into, there are lots of platforms out there. We made our joke about Twitter, that Twitter is, to me, is especially good, for direct communication, especially with, celebrities, well-known people, and text. If you're a really good writer on a relatively short form, Twitter is really good for you. Now you can do all the rest of it on there. Instagram is really good for photography, right?
Visual,
Facebook has got the thing where it's really well designed toward links, things like that. So that's sharing memes, sharing stories, all that kind of stuff. Every platform has its own strengths, and that plays into, what are you best at? What are you good at? And then work on getting really good at that and focusing your efforts on whatever that is, because you don't need a video series, a podcast, a website, daily blog post, tweet storms, all this stuff that you don't have to do it all. You need to find what you're really good at and try to be the best at that, because it's easier to stand out against all this noise if you can find the things that you're really good at, things that you enjoy and that you're good at. Find that strength and play into it. You can always hire somebody later on if you need help with some of these things that you're not as good at. In a lot of cases, it's better to get some help for these things, that you can outsource a little
I
bit
was
of
going
that.
to say that's an outsourcing.
You can get some assistance. You can, work with your spouse. One thing Angela and I are able to do is we try to play to each other's strengths, the things that we're good at and the things that I know I'm not that good at. And that's okay. You can't be good at everything. And what we don't want is, you don't want to be the jack of all trades of digital media. That's not a very good position to be in. Because what you would like to do is, what is your thing? What's the thing that you can do really, really well? In just the same way that a teacher likely doesn't teach everything, right? You have an area that you really are good at. It's usually a certain age group and maybe even a certain subject, right? So you can't do everything. Focus on what you're really good at. And that will help you lead into that consistency, help you own that real estate, and help you be known in that area of what you're really good at.
I love that. I love hearing about like using your strengths to make an impact that only you can make, because that's something that really motivates me, is helping people really discover their gifts, because I believe all of us have different gifts so that we can help people in a way that only you can. And that's why I put together a free branding series. This is a 5-day, or you could binge watch it, as some people are doing right now, to really discover, wow, what is something that I am good at? Because a lot of times it's hard for us to see what we're good at. Like, other people see it usually faster than ourselves because we're too close to the problem. We're too close to the trees to see the forest. And so this has worksheets, it has videos, it's guided to help you really discover, like, what is something that I could show up as, start building my personal brand, because I believe that personal branding is not going away anytime soon. And if you haven't started personal branding, now is the time, especially where, millions of people are trying to figure out how to earn extra money from home, how to build an online business, and this is something that will help you launch, get started. Even if you've been in, the online space for a little while, it may help you find clarity on really how to explode, because you're really getting closer to your strengths.
Yeah. So we've got that in there, and I got distracted. I apologize. So go ahead and say the word brand. If you put that in the comments, Angela, we got this series set up for you. We send it straight to your inbox. As you said, you can go through it daily. That's how we designed it, or binge watch the whole thing. If you've got a couple hours and you want to really dive deep, we would love to provide that to you. Hope this has been helpful to help focus your mind as you're thinking about these things. And as always, we're here to serve. So let us know how we can help you guys. We'd love to have questions in the comments, or drop brand and we'll get you that guy.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Have a good one. Thanks for listening to The Family Hustle with Angela and Adam Parker. We appreciate you guys being here.
If you're listening, don't forget to take a screenshot and share it into your stories and tag us at Grass-Fed Mama.
Also, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your podcast player of choice. That helps other people find out about what we're doing, and it's the best thing you can do to help us grow the podcast.
Hey, goal getter, are you ready to stop having to chase after people only to realize they aren't even interested in what you have to offer? You spend months trying to build rapport and get to know them, and then they never seem interested in buying. What if you could attract your ideal customer to you and have them reaching out for more information about your business and what you have to offer? If this sounds like something you want more info on how you can put into practice, join our Attraction Marketing Bootcamp, where we take 5 days to dig deep into discovering what your ideal customer wants and how you can be the most attractive to them through branding and developing a customer journey. Over the 5 days, you'll have worksheets and videos to guide you through this self-study. To learn more, head on over to grassfedmama.com/attractionmarketing. And now back to the show.